guys, welcome to episode 48. I'm going to write this time, we didn't even have to research that.
We only did one like 3 days ago, so we can't be that far off, can we?
Knowing my memory, mate, I'd probably forgot it. But yeah, we're just saying then make sure that I've got the camera in the right angle as well.
Yeah, we got the camera at the right angle today. We're both in it. That's the most important thing. We fucked up really. We should have not had the guest in the shot, and we should have just had us two both in the shot because we know why you all turn up every week.
Obviously, yeah. Two favourite Mitchell brothers.
We're trying to get a better quality on the audio because we know there's been a couple of issues with the audio over the past couple of weeks. The room that we're in is just like a big box basically, so there's a lot of echoing going in. So we appreciate the feedback and we are trying to make a little bit of an improvement on it. We'll try and get a better setup soon, but just have to deal with us for the time being with the setup that we've got.
But I think right thing to do this week for opening the podcast up, we sort of shed a bit of light and congratulate Leroy from Factory BJJ, the Black Belt over there, and he's just won the Pride of Manchester. I remember seeing them put the post up about, I think it was a while back, about when he saved some young girls from drowning, like out in the ocean, that sort of got caught in the backdrift, and knowing him, like it's just him. He would have just gone out there to help, like I'm thinking, and he's been awarded the Pride of Manchester award. Like fantastic achievement and really well deserved.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? That sort of attitude. If more people were doing that, not to that level, but there's a lot of small things that people can do on a day-to-day basis that just exemplify that sort of attitude that would make the world a much better place.
Yeah, definitely.
If people were doing the same thing and had the same sort of care and looking out for other people.
Yeah.
And I think definitely goes something to be said from that the sport as well. Jiu Jitsu, judo, all those traditional martial arts kind of instill that discipline and looking out for others in that respect as well. So
no, definitely.
but
staying composed under stressful situations.
Yeah, I mean, what is more stressful than that? Like risking your life to go and save two other people's who are in danger. So yeah, big round of applause to that, and everybody else out there who's doing equally as amazing stuff.
No, definitely. And like I said, if there's any other things that pop up on your newsfeed that you want to shed some light on, feel free to drop us a message and we'll talk about it or shout it out and anything like that.
Yep.
But there's another big headline that's I've just seen, I think it might be this morning. Another MMA legend may fall victim to the stone fridge hands of Jake Paul.
Right, okay.
Tyron Woodley signed the contract.
See, are we going to be upset when he gets knocked out who's going to be more upset when he gets knocked out for a couple of million, the fans or him?
Definitely the fans. I support it, more so because he's going to get a big payday. He's been cut by the UFC as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
So this is just retirement tokens.
Why the hell not?
Yeah, definitely.
I kind of am looking more forward now to it becoming a running joke where, fair enough, he knocks him out in the ring or whatever, but basically turns into WWE.
Yeah.
So who's the biggest name that you can get to fight Jake Paul to take a dive for a couple of million?
I would love Brock Lesnar.
That'd be amazing.
Well, let's bring back Shane Carwin.
Yeah.
With the size of his hands and the size of his head, you'd have to pack some power to knock him out.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna go down the route of being ridiculous, he's do back to back Shane Carwin and Brock Lesnar,
and then Bob Sapp at the end.
Yeah, basically, it could just be like doing the run of Tekken. So he goes up the ladder with the bosses and then fights Bob Sapp as Heihachi at the end.
Yeah, that would be an awesome event to be fair to watch.
Yeah, but legitimately though, it's difficult to make money in combat sports. If the opportunity is presented to you to make a lot of money for doing a fight that nobody really cares about, you can take it.
Oh, 100%. He's probably going to get more money from this one fight than he's probably earned for defending a title. And unlike Askren, Woodley can strike to a degree. I don't know how it's going to go. going off his last performance, if he comes out like that, it'll be an exciting fight.
Yeah, I mean, he came out hot in his last fight, didn't he?
Yeah.
And probably off the back end of a lot of criticism about being really slow out of the gates, or really not throwing any shots whatsoever in previous matches. So maybe find the happy medium between it and not get starched out. But
and I think if he wasn't motivated, I think a couple mils are good enough motivated to get him going.
I mean, did he get the money just for showing? There's no like additional bonus money for the win, is there? Because it's Jake Paul's organisation, isn't it?
I think this one's going to be on Showtime.
Is it?
Yeah, the headline that I saw, Tyron Woodley signs to fight Jake Paul on Showtime.
But even the same weight class?
Tyron Woodley's going to come in heavy, I think.
Yeah.
Like, Tyron Woodley does cut down to make welter. But it's still competing against somebody who hits like a cruiserweight is going to feel different in the ring.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what Jake Paul's stats are, but he looks like a fairly big guy. Obviously less experienced in striking.
He's 3-0.
3-0.
Professional boxer.
We were talking about this the other week, weren't we, about Ben Askren being, not being known for being the greatest striker, but at the end of the day, he's still an Olympian. In wrestling as well. We went into depth on that episode about how disciplined and how much of an athlete you have to be to get to the Olympics. Especially in the big countries like America or Russia or whatever. Not diminishing any of the other countries, but you've got a real big pool of talent there coming through. So to be able to make it to the Olympics, you're an athlete. But I don't know. It's interesting. Like I've got a little bit more back into pro wrestling recently, just like reminiscing about all the olden days with Stone Cold and The Rock and just how good the entertainment was. And I just think that this Jake Paul and Logan Paul thing is just fucking funny, man.
Like, for all we know, they might have grew up watching it. And
100%.
Yeah.
100%. They're living the dream. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, I don't like them, but they're providing some level of entertainment.
And what they're doing is working because we're talking about them. Everybody talks about them. So, they're a money-making machine at the moment. I do think that it's going to be short-lived. They might have a 3 or a 4 year window. Or, if they suffer 2 losses, I think that's going to be it. Unless they can keep the hype train going, kind of like Conor can, until he gets starched. Like he did.
Do you think that Conor was like the gateway or the gatekeeper to this sort of ridiculous matchups happening?
Yeah.
Because although it was a cross sport, he's still a legit, like at the time, still active competitor coming over into a different sport and 2 real big names in different sports fighting. It seems ridiculous that somebody who's really a nobody in boxing can get a match against Floyd Mayweather. No,
definitely. I think. Because he certainly wasn't the first, but I do think he's the biggest. Like, I remember James Toney and Randy Couture.
See, coming the other way though, like
I've got to come into him. Sorry, go on.
Coming from boxing to MMA, there's so much more tools to get exposed with, and I don't think James Toney realised that. I thought he was just going to come in and knock Randy Couture out, and he just wrestled him.
But then you've got to give it to Randy Couture as well. He didn't really beat him up on the ground. He just took him down, submitted him, and was a gent about it.
Yeah. It's kind of like we were talking about the other week as well with Pat Downey and Gordon Ryan.
Yeah.
When there was no risk of submissions on the takedowns, Pat Downey just ran through him on the stand-up.
Yeah.
But then, watching the matches back-to-back, immediately going into the Jiu Jitsu match, so much more reluctant to hit the takedowns. Even though actually in the wrestling match when he was hitting takedowns, he was ending up in dominant positions, but just not knowing what to do from there. But yeah, Conor was definitely the big push for getting this kind of ridiculous run on celebrity boxing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty much, which is cool. It's just a different thing.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I do enjoy the build-up.
Yeah.
And I think the build-up for Woodley is going to be just as interesting as it was for Askren. There'll be a different angle because Askren is a troll and knows how to handle trolls. I think Woodley is going to be a bit more of the aggressor, as opposed to trying to troll them two, because he won't win that battle with them two, and then that's when, if he does try that, that's when he's going to lose the mental battle, unfortunately.
I mean, some of the mental battle that was going on in the last match from whichever Paul it was. Which one is it? Jake Paul?
Yeah.
I mean, he was acting like a 5-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's just hilarious. But back to Jiu Jitsu news, that I don't think we talked about it the other week, but Gordon Ryan's retired.
Yeah.
Allegedly retired due to like complications with this stomach issue that he's been having for the past couple of years, it sounds like.
Yeah.
But more interesting than that is, does that now open the door for Craig Jones to become legitimately number 1 and not number 2? He's definitely doing he's like probably one of the most active high profile guys at the moment there.
Certainly there, but he wasn't number 2 in ADCC.
No, he wasn't, but...
So I think it blasted the doors wide open for not being one person dominating the scene at the moment, but I do think another one will come through pretty soon.
I guess I mean more like not the number 1 competitor, but like the who the spotlight's on in Jiu-Jitsu at the moment, because you know he plays his persona brilliantly, doesn't he? Arguably, he's probably more popular as a personality in Jiu-Jitsu than Gordon Ryan was, just because he makes fun of himself all the time. He is active, he does beat people. He might not be out and out the best, but he's certainly within the mix of the handful of top 3-5 people in the world.
Oh, of course,
And his matches are always entertaining.
Yeah.
So.
And like his recent win was got on the leg, kept the leg, no matter how hard he was pulling out, and he got the finish.
Yeah.
Like, he is not a points player. He hunts for the finish.
Yeah, we were going through his statistics previously, weren't we? Like, he's not, when it goes to points, he loses.
Yeah.
Like, historically, if you look at his statistics, if he's not winning by sub, he's not winning, which provides for exciting matches. It makes people want to buy his DVDs or instructionals.
Yeah.
But maybe if he's going to come into ADCC and really make a run at getting the gold on that, maybe he needs to become a bit more savvy about how to play the points game. Yeah. Especially when you're playing against players who are really good at it, like Dennis.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think I do think his training will change to that, or not necessarily change completely, because it goes against him as an athlete. I think that goes against what he stands for as an athlete. But I do think he'll be a bit more points aware during the next ADCC and even Nogi Worlds if he does it.
Do you think is the amount of like seminars and tours that he does, although that's probably pocketing him quite a bit of money, takes away from his training, or do you think getting all those different looks in at different gyms with different people, even though they might not be at the top level, is more beneficial for him than training in Puerto Rico with the boys?
I think you can look at it like a bit of both, because like you getting exposure to different bodies lets you test your A game quite regularly and add things to it, take things away, and you're sort of seeing how it works and different people respond to it. And then when there is a training camp, he can go to Puerto Rico for that 12 weeks because he can work for 9 months of the year, maintain and train quite well, earn his money, and then during that 3-month period he can really amp it up and not have to worry about anything other than peaking for the tournament.
Yeah. And there's probably, I don't know, what would you say, like, does that keep the fire alive for his, like, for, if it was you, would doing that keep the passion more alive or less alive, like, than getting the burnout of just training all the time? You know, he's getting to travel, getting the novelty of going around and doing different seminars, or do you think doing the seminars would be more of a burnout because you're not in the same place, you're travelling a lot?
That's a tough one, to be honest. Because I like my routine when I'm training. If I'm prepping for something, I like having a schedule, routine. This is when I eat, this is when I train, this is when I do this is when I do that. And then when I'm not training for anything, I don't mind being a bit more flexible. I'm quite a lot more flexible than that. Whereas I think it can be quite disruptive, can't it? Like, flying everywhere, the sleep's going to be disrupted, so recovery's not always going to be there. Local cuisine, that can also have an effect on recovery because you might not be able to find adequate amounts of protein, adequate amounts of carbs, etc. Living out of a bag can be stressful, but if that's what he's accustomed to,
I would make the argument that that's his norm, because he's been doing that for the past at least 5 years, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Is the Craig Jones of 2021 better than the Craig Jones at the last ADCC?
I'd say just because progress dictates that, and the fashion in which he finishes matches. But I'd also say the Craig Jones who choked Leandro Lowe probably had a greater chance being the underdog, because not many people knew who he was. So he was still that enigma who could come out there and be the surprise for the players, because people are going to overlook him. Whereas there's a lot of players now who will be training to beat Craig Jones. They'll be training to beat your Buchecha, they'll be training to beat your Kanans. So sort of being in the limelight opens up all these doors for you, but it also puts an even bigger target on your back. So for me, it depends. I think for that it's an it depends question. Like, what do you think?
I don't know, like you say, just with the natural progression over time, you'd think that you'd improve over a 2-year period. You got the silver last time out, 2019. But it's difficult as well to say, because everybody else is progressing at the same rate, but maybe you're not seeing it as much because Craig Jones is out there showing pretty much everything that he's doing, whether that be the seminars or he's competing frequently. You might not be seeing that as much, certainly over the past 2 years, from everybody else in his division, because there's been fewer competitions. I feel like the shows that have been put on have pretty much kind of had the same circle of guys on, which generally tends to happen with the flow stuff as well, doesn't it? It's like the same sort of guys are showing up to compete each time, because flow can get a lot of people to buy the pay-per-view or whatever it is with those names. But it's interesting. I think that weight division is an exciting weight division in ADCC. Probably one of the more stacked. They're all pretty stacked, to be fair. But that one's always usually a hot one. I enjoyed that last time, and I don't see why it'd be any different this time.
No, definitely. And I think for me, the division that I'm going to be keeping an eye on as well is it 77 or 79 with Tonin and Torres and Canuto, and
that was a sick division last time.
And I think it's going to be. I think that one's going to steal the show again this year, because there's Jimenez in that division now as well. And you Dante Leon, you've got your new breed of grapplers who have qualified for it, as well as the top crop that were there last time.
Has Keenan mentioned coming back to compete at ADCC this time? Because he didn't last time because of illness, didn't he? And then there was a conflict with weight brackets or something like that, wasn't it? He pulled out, and then didn't Barbosa have to go up a weight bracket because Keenan had pulled out, and then that meant there was two Atos guys going to be in the same weight bracket?
I'm not sure, because was Keenan I don't think Keenan was at Atos for 2019.
I'm getting confused. But have you seen anything about him coming back to compete at it this year?
No, I think it seems like he's just focusing on his club and Jiu Jitsu X at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because there's not even been a mat burn since December.
No. So who's looking good for that under 99 kilo bracket then, in your opinion?
I can see Jones going for it.
Moving up.
Yeah. But then again, I think 88's his division.
The match, Gordon Ryan and Barbosa was probably the most competitive match from 2019's.
Yeah, I can see Barbosa taking the 99 if he goes for it. And I'm trying to think who's in the division as well. I've not really watched the 99s for a while. Is Cyborg in there as well?
He's plus 99, isn't he? You remember he had that match with Nicky Rod?
He did, yeah.
Last time.
Kanan's plus 99.
Plus 99 as well.
I can see Kanan, if I'm honest, Kanan double golden
Yeah.
2021.
Let's see. Orlando Sanchez come back. Should be this year. It should be 2021. Yeah. Let's see Orlando Sanchez come back in that plus 99 division as well, because that's always exciting. See if he can continue his run of getting cut. But such an athletic guy for such a big guy.
Yeah.
I love watching his matches.
Yeah.
And it was funny to watch him go up against Nicky Rod as well, because a clash of like two big athletic dudes and
big personalities as well.
You know, probably Nicky Rod's maybe like a younger version of what Orlando Sanchez was, maybe not quite as wild.
Can I argue that, definitely.
Yeah.
But we're also the Cheshires in that plus 99.
Is he in it, or is he focusing on his one MMA championship stuff?
Oh, that's a point.
I think I'm not looked, but I'm going to assume that he's focusing on that and not focusing on competing in Jiu Jitsu as well, which brings up another topic of like how good is Gordon Ryan and Gary Tonin that he can focus on both and do as well as he does.
I don't know, Molly. I don't think there's going to be another athlete like him for a long time.
He's so good and he's so exciting, and he's doing amazingly in both sports at the same time.
We've had a lot of like people transition. Acai, he had his success in MMA, but he didn't compete in grappling. Damian Maia. Who's the other annoying one who trains with Conor?
Dylan Dennis.
That's the one. Like, I've not seen him in any grappling.
No.
I think could we see as well actually some of the MMA guys who are ex-wrestlers coming back to try and get into the ADCC.
Well, talking about what we were talking about the other week is Pat Downey and guys like him coming from like an elite level of wrestling and now acquiring those jiu-jitsu skills. Are they guys that can come through and win these ADCC trials and do well in the main tournament?
Yeah.
Just by wrestle fucking everybody.
And I think, we spoke about this where we think that's going to be the next phase of grappling. Like, went for the leg lock and the guardie phase, now it's going to be just wrestling and low passing, heavy pressure, and going back to the basics of we're going to crush, as opposed to all these fancy guards and things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, to be perfectly honest, there's not a lot of jiu-jitsu guys, probably even at the higher levels as well, who do have really exceptional wrestling.
No.
Because there's so much of it that happens on the ground, and that's where you're going to put your priority and your focus. Like, there's an element of, I'm not really bothered about getting taken down, because this is where I want to be. I'm going to work whatever I want to off the floor. But when you come up against somebody who's got really elite wrestling, but also now that they've been learning a bit of jiu-jitsu, knows what positions not to get themselves in when they're doing the takedowns.
Yeah.
So getting wrapped up for guillotines or whatever it may be, like leg entanglements. Like, I reckon they can come in and basically just wreck a lot of people on points.
Yeah.
And essentially just treat it like a wrestling tournament. Come in, rack up 10 points, stall out, or just hold positions on the floor. Because there is passivity in ADCC points as well, isn't there? But I think it's interesting. I'm excited to see that.
Take down, get back up, take down, get back up, doing that for the 10-minute match.
And that works as well, doesn't it? Because like they don't let you sit on your butt.
No.
Like the referees will stand you up. But it also works in the opposite way as well, because I remember seeing a lot last time, like people reluctant to engage in the leg game, and the refs will be like, go, or you're getting passivity points.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's why I like ADCC rules. We talked about it quite a lot before. It provides for, they make you engage.
Yeah.
So it's always an exciting match.
And they, like you say, they penalise that. If you're going to sit down, you're going to sacrifice points.
Yeah.
And so, but then I do think that plays the opposite way as well when you get two guys who can't wrestle.
Yeah.
I remember watching a match.
I've seen many matches like that.
Yeah, it was just horrible. Like, nobody got to pull guard because they're going to lose points. But if your guard's that good, pull guard, take the hit, and attack.
Yep.
Like, go for it.
I think the other good thing that wrestlers do well is like bodylock passing.
Yeah.
And bodylock holding, which arguably is a really good defence for leg lock game.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're not going to have as much experience there, but they've got the good counter for that style of play as well. So hitting takedowns, securing body lock, passing. Like, I don't know, I think it could be an exciting mix up into ADCC, as we saw last time with Nicky Rod. Maybe just having a handful of decent subs that you can hit, rear naked choke.
Get to somebody's back, like, that's all you need.
Yeah, and basically just crush people's faces from the nose down. I don't know, it's exciting, it's good. It's good that there's this still excitement in Jiu Jitsu. It's never stopping, it's always evolving. It goes in phases, doesn't it? So like the leg lock thing was the thing for the time, and now it's another thing, and then when that gets countered it's going to be something else, and it's nothing new, but it's just waves of fashion and styles of play.
Yeah, and like I say, nothing fully gets taken out, because even though we went through this leg lock phase, there were still your heavy passers, there were still your heavy pressure guys, and then when the heavy stuff comes in, there's still going to be your leg lockers, because they're going to be trying to keep their game relevant to counteract all the heavy stuff. So the game is just constantly evolving.
What weight class are the Rotullo brothers coming in at? I think, is one of them coming in, the bigger out of the two is coming in, or he's got a match against Craig Jones coming up, hasn't he? I think. I probably should confirm that before saying it, but I think he's got a match coming up against Craig Jones, so if he's in that 88 kilo bracket, I mean,
that would be really interesting, because
those darces, the length of those arms and the darces that he can throw them from anywhere.
The way that they play as well, like the tournament over lockdown where the two of them were in it, and they weren't getting thrown around by the more physical players. They were holding their own, and that's going to be a Friday, June 18th. I think that might be one that I'll watch stay up for.
Less than 3 weeks away from a good matchup there, so that should be exciting. If he's moving up into that weight bracket for the 88's ADCC as well,
that could be. I mean, I can see the frame that they've got. I think when they're early 20s, they're going to be like canine size.
Yeah, they can't be far off now, can they? They're like 18, 19.
Yeah. Well, we saw Kanan's blow up when he got his black belt. Went from being, what was it, 88 to plus 99.
You've got to get on that Acai.
That's it.
That Acai.
Acai, yeah. It comes in needle form. Allegedly.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. It was alleged. We were reading it off the teleprompter.
Banter. It's all banter.
And on a good note to end on that one.
That's it. Yeah.
Make sure you stay refreshed up on your needle injected Acai.
Allegedly.
Alleged Atos Acai. There's some alliteration for you. If you don't want to resort to having to get onto the Acai, you can go and check out our videos on YouTube. Perfect segue there. We've got an instructional series at the moment for passing half guard, a knee shield, and attacking from there as well. So go check that out. We had, if you've not listened to it already, we just done an interview with a sports psychologist, Amber Ledger, which was great.
Yeah,
so if you've not listened to that one and you're going to go and listen to it, take your notepads for it, because there's a lot of important details in there that you're going to want to jot down to implement it into your training, your lifestyle, everything.
Just, full scope of it. Like, definitely come away with a lot learned from that podcast.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Again, make sure you hit us up on social medias at the Grapplers Academy, Instagram, Facebook, Bonafide PT, coached by Acai. Drop us a like, comment, subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and give us a share.
Good.